department head reports. Item number 1, Public Works Supervisor Greg Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My first item, the landfill 1 remediation project. The bids were open and you have a recommendation. We have a recommendation from Tri-Hydro on the contractor. Earthworks Solutions was the lowest bid. They met all qualifications. The documents were reviewed by DEQ, State Construction, and myself. We double checked that they are not debarred, and they are not. I recommended to Wyoming DEQ to award the bid to Earthworks Solutions for $2,373,475. They actually make the decision on which one to do it. We just give a recommendation based on the engineer's recommendation. The other item about this project is the original engineer's estimate was $3.5 million.
Wow.
So we're over $1 million under what the engineer's estimate was. So that was actually really pleasant to see.
And keep them still.
Any questions about that?
That was a pleasant surprise.
It was a really pleasant surprise.
Do we have money to do this?
We applied for an SRF, clean water SRF loan, and were awarded the loan. So we originally requested $1 million. If we keep the bid fairly close to this and not a lot of change orders, we shouldn't need all that money. So we'll be able to turn some back and assume a smaller loan. My second item, we discussed at the last meeting, and Ms. Alexis Barker with the Newsletter Journal had approached myself and the other department heads about a response to the requirement of residency to City of Newcastle employees. Currently, we do not have a policy on this. The only policy we probably had ended in probably like 2005, 2007. One of the employees working for the city who was not an on-call person actually lived in South Dakota in Custer Islands. That kind of stopped the requirement to live within the city or close to the city. In support of this, it also, in rural communities, we have a significant restriction on the pool of people we can choose from for employees. This does open up more qualified applicants by not restricting where employees may live. We attract a broader, more diverse, and more experienced workforce by also doing this. For example, my brother, and I got his permission to use him. He's a paramedic in Sidney, Nebraska, but he lives in Sterling, Colorado. It's 42 miles away, works his shift, goes home. We actually have a resident in Weston County that works for another fire department in another city over 200 miles away. So it is a common practice. It's becoming more common of a practice for cities to do this because they do increase their employment pool and get better qualified applicants. Our Public Works Department over the last several years, we have employed people that live in Upton, and when they make arrangements when they're on call to stay here. We actually have 2 really good employees out of doing that. I just brought it up mainly for discussion. This was our response to the Newsletter Journal.
So I was aware of this, and I worked for the city shop for 8.5 years. So it was one of those things at the city shop that was just spread word of mouth. So nobody actually looked at the personnel policy or anything. Everybody it was just a common theme that we were supposed to live within 5 miles, and it got parroted a lot, but, apparently since that came up, last meeting or the meeting prior, last meeting, everybody scoured the personnel policy and nobody has found any verbiage that says that you have to reside within a 5-mile bubble of the city of Newcastle to work here. So, I think it causes a lot of hard feelings when people think that there's something there and then there's not. So, anyway, now that I, as a former employee, know that there isn't actually anything in I feel kind of foolish for believing that for so many years. And, I don't personally have a problem with people living out of the city limits if they want to work here, as long as they're able to make their on-call, and that's an important thing. Because if somebody lived in a neighboring community and they weren't here for their on-call, then that puts added pressure and stress on the rest of the people at the shop.
The only requirement we have is a response for on-call is 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
They have to be on site and working in 30 minutes. Receiving a call.
So that'd be hard to do if you lived further than 30 minutes away.
Other than that, during larger emergencies, water main breaks, things like that, once the water is shut off by the on-call personnel, we do call in other members to help us, other employees. Locates typically take about 2 hours to get a locate completed. So there is time to get employees called in from, say, update. Because we, like I said, we did have 2 employees that did live in Upton. One of them's moved here, the other one has since quit. But yeah, I mean, it has been a practice to allow people to live farther out, as long as they're in Newcastle within a 30-minute response time to Newcastle.
Does anybody have any further questions of Greg over this matter? Hearing none, we can move on, Greg.
Okay. I guess on that note, would the personnel committee like to get together to discuss this further, or what would be the pleasure of the council on that?
Good question, Greg. Does the personnel committee want to add something else to your agenda?
I can't think of anything, and I realize that employee pool can be expanded a great deal. There's not, I mean, we want to be able to get the best employee.
And in support of the police department, I mean, yes, we can get better qualified people by looking outside of Weston County.
Right.
Because water operators, there's, what, 4 of us now in the entire county? It's a perfect example of how you get qualified people to do water, wastewater operations, and require a whole license, but yet we can't find anybody because we're already all employed. It's same with
And more people, I think, in Newcastle are moving out of those city limits.
Well, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I live a mile and a half outside of the city limits. So,
I don't think we need to get together. We need to-
Does the council even feel that we have a problem?
It's not a problem. I don't think there is one.
They not, but you know, we've had such a problem getting people to work here
Right.
that, you know, I certainly wouldn't recommend that we do anything about living out of city.
But I mean, I'm glad that this has been brought to our attention too.
That was a nice letter you responded to. That was a good letter.
thank you.
One of the things that I think I would add though is, we do need to have some kind of policy in place about,
Bruce?
yeah, maybe about response, but also about, the usage of, city vehicles. Yeah, because that's been a hot button topic and, been an issue for the public over the last couple of years. So, something addressed in that manner would be good, I think.
Okay. I'll work on it with the other department heads. My next item, in response to public comment regarding city employees visiting convenience stores during work hours. We have actually worked quite hard to get the employees to come back to the break room at the Public Works Department and take their breaks in the field. It creates more efficiency. Unfortunately with that, we do not have heaters in our vehicles for warming up drinks, food, whatever. Some employees do bring food and their beverages with them when they come to work, some of us don't. I'm one that kind of relies on getting a warm sandwich somewhere else during the workday. A lot of times myself, I pick something up as I'm traveling between two different places. Perfect example, a couple weeks ago, we had to go up to Tank 1 to do work up there. We left there, stopped at Gateway, went to Duff Avenue, visited the work project, went to Tank 2. We consumed our food and beverage while we were driving, while we were doing the regular work. We didn't actually stop and take our 15-minute break. A lot of the employees will do that. I think by restricting the employees going to convenience stores would foster more going back to the shop and being out of the sight of the public during their breaks.
Yeah.
But it also creates an inefficiency. So what would be the council's pleasure on this? Go ahead and visit with the personnel committee, or
You can visit with the personnel committee if you want to bring up, but in my review of this, looking at it, I'm not sure it's a topic that's, I think is probably being abused. Obviously, if there's things that someone's probably seeing that they've probably been there 45 minutes, an hour, in a certain area that probably should be a work area, but, you know, if they're gonna go get something at a convenience store, most of the time too, you don't know what the circumstances were, that if they were there at 8 o'clock, they might have been on a job at 2 o'clock in the morning, and finally just got done and went in to go get something to start the day,
the rest of their
the
day.
rest of their day. So,
And that does happen. We were working out the grade issues 3:30 in the morning. Time we finished up, it was just about time to start our regular shift. So, yeah, everybody wanted to stop, grab a cup of hot coffee and a hot sandwich, because we've been out at 12 degrees working all night.
I guess the only thing is maybe with your employees and just say, you know, Greg, who's had to work all night.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have to work all night, they don't need to stop at the quick stop first thing in the morning. They could stop at the quick stop before their time begins. And if they go there later, or whatever, but you can visit with your own employees, I'd say about that.
Okay.
Something else that we discussed earlier today, Greg, that I think would be good to bring tonight in the council is, I wasn't, 100% on the statistic you threw at me. It was like 4,300 work orders that was produced. Was that over
The last year.
the last year? 4,300 work orders were produced by Novo Solutions, our asset management company.
And that's probably about low by about 1/3. So there are some reports that didn't get produced.
So, were all of those work orders completed, or are they, some of them still pending?
The pending ones are usually mine.
Are they? The city employees are busy, and they have a lot to do in our town to keep things running. And, so I think it would also be good for the community to cut them a little bit of slack sometimes. I don't know. A little bit more empathy and not drawing such hard lines all the time. city and not drawing such hard lines all the time. The city crew is also on call 24 hours a day for a 7-day period. And they're not compensated for any of that time where they are basically trapped here in town. Unless they get a call out, so I mean, it was on a 5-week cycle.
It varies on the number of employees we have.
So when I was at the shop, it was on a 5-week cycle, so every 5 weeks you planned on not being able to do anything, not being able to consume alcoholic beverages, if that's something that you like to do, there was rules, and it takes a special person to work at the shop, to wade in rivers of human excrement and be up at all night, hours of the night, repairing busted water mains and all the things that we do. So, anyway, was there anything else on that? The council, public? Going once, going twice, we'll go ahead and move on to your next item, Super 8 Motel.
Yes, we were approached by the Super 8 Motel on the east end of town about connecting to the city water system as an emergency. We're doing an emergency connection. I drafted a letter, and so I circled it around a few people to, including the water sewer personnel committee, the water sewer committee, for the requirements to allow Super 8 to connect. One hiccup we ran into is, unfortunately, our city attorney has a conflict of interest. The next step is I visit Attorney Hughes, recommended Thomas & Thomas attorneys out of Gillette. I met with them last week, and they're willing to represent us in this matter. There are some legal fees involved and a letter of engagement that must be signed and a retainer pay of $2,500. Unless we do anything unless we need them, they won't do anything. We will have to request them to do something, but I do need permission to move forward with this prior to giving Super 8 the letter and the requirements that would be set forth for the connection.
Does the council entertain a motion to provide the retainer fee of $2,500 for Thomas & Thomas LLC
And allow myself to sign the agreement.
and allow Public Works Supervisor Greg Trump to sign the agreement?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
Thomas & Thomas did review the letter and said it looked good to send to the Super 8 Motel, so we will get in contact with Mr. Patel tomorrow and move forward on this. My next item, Public Works Department sort of permanently borrowed the engineer's pickup after the engineer left, the previous engineer left. We put a lot of miles on it. It's one of our travel vehicles because it's in pretty good shape. So to be fair to the city engineer, we found a used Ford F-150 2021 with 70,000 miles on it for $30,095 to purchase from Newcastle Motors to replace the pickup that we permanently borrowed.
Did you ask permission to borrow that?
There was nobody to ask.
So what's wrong with the truck?
nothing, we just got 160,000 miles on the pickup, the city engineers pickup. Plus we need another travel vehicle, because we only have 2 and then myself. Right now, we have 2 employees going to Gillette every day for 2 weeks for CDL class. They have that one. We gave the city engineers pickup back to Steve until we can come up with some solution to come up with another travel vehicle. We do have multiple people going in multiple directions at different times and at the same time. That's why we need 2 travel vehicles that are reliable and can make it from point A to point B.
So I know a lot of the city's fleet is aging. Does your budget support this request?
We found some places to pull some money from, mainly the water department, a couple of projects that we could hold off for another year. Non-revenue meter work at the parks. There was a couple other places that we could pull from different line items to pay for the pickup. And not really affect what we're currently working on.
So it's not gonna affect the time frame on any of the capital improvements projects for the water development study, or?
No, none of that. It won't affect the AMI, the automated meter reading system. We had budgeted for 200 water meters. We typically go through 100. We were gonna replace more of the older meters that are still functioning. So we kept that back by 50 or so. The non-revenue meters at the parks, we can postpone that. That was a $27,000 price tag. So we can, that alone covers most of this.
So does the council entertain a motion to purchase the F-250 or F-150, 2021 Ford F-150 Super pickup for $30,000 or $30,095?
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so the Durango that you used to have, the low miles one, do you still have it? Would that be a better road car than a pickup? And you're not using it, right?
Not currently. We do all other things though besides, I mean, our water samples is something we can haul inside, but we do haul the roll-off cylinders, the 2 roll-off lift cylinders that we're leaking. And the pickup that we would normally haul that with is one Steve's using right now. We do haul stuff that I really would not want to put inside for a vehicle.
Oh, you were just talking about the road car, just for,
It's
no, I mean, a little bit ago, you were talking about
But our travel,
Travel.
Our travel is also hauling stuff back and forth.
I mean, like, the garbage truck cylinders and like all the different stuff that you'd send somebody from the shop to run to like Bell Foods with, or,
Yeah, our electric motors for the pumps, ATEC and Casper, we have to go pick up parts up there for the garbage trucks all the time. We have to deliver garbage truck parts. When our slide out portion of the garbage truck was worn out, we had to take this garbage covered 12-foot long piece of steel to Casper to have it refurbished and rebuilt and brought it back. So it's not just a travel vehicle, it's multiple vehicles.
so is there any further discussion? Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
Is this vehicle then that you're talking about buying, is that to replace the one for Steve to use, or?
Yes, it
So
will.
that's gonna be for him,
Yes, it will
and
be.
you're keeping the one that you
We put all
took?
the miles on.
Okay, just wanted to clarify, thank you.
Okay, and then, something I was discussing the other day, council, it is okay to cast a nay vote if you don't agree with the decision, So I just want to throw that out there. So in that spirit, all those in favor of purchasing the F-150 Ford pickup signify by saying,
Whoa, she just asked a question here that, okay, so the new truck is going to Steve.
Correct.
Okay, Steve, do you need to haul things around in the truck, and why can't you use the Durango? Because you're not hauling things.
Well, we do have tools. It will be
Durango's pretty big.
okay, but there may be occasion that may need a ladder, for example.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I also don't know that it's a good idea to part with that vehicle, because I do have 2 new employees coming on. I have 7 vehicles that I would say are good, solid vehicles.
Okay, you just spoiled the whole deal.
But you always need a spare because something always breaks. It is marked, it would suffice. It
Gotcha.
lacks certain equipment, but it would get us through while something else is being repaired as well. So I guess I should have expounded on that when Councilman Downs asked that question.
Thank you, Chief.
okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, are you saying that I should say nay, or?
I don't care what you say.
I realize that, but.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, we'll move on. Congratulations on the new pickup, I know you'll use it well.
Thank you.
My next item, the Duff Avenue Sewer Project. We held a substantial completion meeting. We had a punch list. We'll be advertising the substantial completion for this project. After the generators commissioned and the wastewater meter that was overlooked during the ordering of the parts comes in and gets installed, we will be able to advertise for the final completion. So that project is really close to being done.
Is this the hot iron project?
Which one? We got 2 of them going on.
Well, the one we just spent $400,000 on.
That is,
In claims this time, there's $400,000 off the hot iron.
was
We have
that,
payments for both projects.
we did pay apps for the 2025 project, which is the Iron project, and they also have the Duff Avenue project completed, or was completed for us.
Well, actually, it was about half and half, Tom. 187,668 is for that.
Okay, so we still haven't paid them all off completely.
No, we still have the retainer that we hold until after the final completion is done.
Okay.
Just inform the council, we'll be closing South Seneca Street this week to repair the utility cut at West Wakefield from the sewer service that was replaced last winter. It'll be closed, we're hoping 2 days, but depending on what happens, possibly 3 or 4 days. We're shooting for 2 days. While we're over at Centennial Park looking some stuff over, we noticed there's some new damage to the building. They're starting to knock off parts of the concrete block on the outside.
Jeez.
Somebody damaged some soffits while we're looking around and found that.
So, maybe a game cam, or?
We're working on camera systems. We got a quote from one company, it's way higher than I got for, so we're shopping for camera systems. We need Wi-Fi access in order to do it. We're testing out, like I said, we're testing out the Verizon cellular modem up to tank 2 for another thing, we're making sure it works. If it works, then we have a relatively inexpensive way to get Wi-Fi so we can set up camera systems. So,
Is there good lighting over there, like at night?
sort of, when they don't break it. I mean, the tunnel, the underpass has headlights in it, but we can't keep them in there because people never should be much. So,
You cannot fix Washington DC from within Washington DC. You have to fix it from the outside. It has to be citizen uprising. And the only way you can do it is through an Article 5 convention. There are lots of other ideas that people throw out there that aren't in the Constitution necessarily. This is a peaceful, legal, constitutional method for reining in the federal government, which, like I said earlier, is the responsibility of the states. That's one of their roles, and they've abdicated that responsibility horribly. Our founders would be appalled that we're thinking of solutions other than an Article 5 convention, because that's the process they put in for this purpose.
You just gotta catch one and hang them in the town square, that's all you gotta do.
That's right.
of course. That's all I have for my reports. Anybody has any questions?
Mr. Mayor, if I may. Craig, can we circle back to the question that was asked about the streetlights? I agree that, with these streetlights up, this is a public safety issue. Is there any way we can put pressure on Black Hills Energy to get these fixed?
I don't know. That may be something to visit with them, especially when we talk to them each year. They should be coming in here shortly to visit with us. That's one thing that could be talked or addressed.
I think that's something that we need to make as a note when they come in, that when we have these streetlights up, this is a public safety issue. When we request to get them fixed,
They should get on.
it should be a priority.
Well, and we charge it for them.
Yeah, maybe something for the council to ask next time they're in.
Let's vote to fine them.
You have an ordinance for that?
No, just that would take a vote.
I mean, having a franchise agreement with the organization seems like it would be a good place to start, we have a franchise agreement. They should serve us a little bit better than all that. Because this has been a problem ever since I even worked at the shop. I mean, there's always street lights out and then we have to beg for people to come and replace them.
Have we talked to them lately?
We have a crew right here.
Because it is Halloween, and so it is dark, and it's gonna be a major safety issue.
See, in summertime, it gets difficult for us to go drive every street and look
Right,
at every light
right,
when it's
because
10.
it's too light, right.
Yeah, you're working at 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Right,
So trying to find somebody that will.
but I mean,
wants
if
to do
we
it.
need to talk to them again and just stress the safety issue because of Halloween.
Problem is, we just don't have a good reporting process. So what ends up happening is I end up having one of my people, after dark, after hours, driving literally every street looking for street lights that are out and documenting the number, the location, so we can relay that to Black Hills Energy.
But Jeff's already told us what streets.
And we did get those on the list. That was one section that I did. So,
Any further questions for Public Works Supervisor Greg Stump? Hearing none,
I
thanks
have
Greg.
one question.
Oh, go ahead.
Why couldn't we get the citizens of Newcastle to help with the street lights? If they see them out, report it.
They do sometimes, this is one of them, yeah.
Well, it would be nice if we could get the citizens involved.
Yeah, that's a good point. The citizens do call in and complain about missing streetlights.
Some of them don't, and, maybe we should make people aware, if you want to see good and down your street, because I like the blackness we have, but, I just like the dark. But the street lights, I agree, it should be on.
Thanks, Mrs. Lundman.
If I see some out, I will report it. Or when, if I'm going down the street, I'll let you know. No
Appreciate it.
problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to department head reports, item 2, engineer Stephen Dietrich.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Obviously Greg's got a lot going on in his shop, so my report will be brief tonight. So, on the building department, with the residential construction projects and permits and inspections, you can see we have 10 active projects for code compliance. It's that time of year where it's starting to tail off a little bit. We had 7 roofs for building permits, 1 HVAC system installed, 1 plumbing, and 1 water tap. On the construction, commercial construction projects, most of us are aware that the one here in town recently got finished by Hurricane Services. They're now over demoing, as of today, they were demoing the old Black Hills plumbing on Summit Avenue, making some pretty good progress there. And then on the new construction, a new building in the Dollar General, that site is being graded. And it should be ready for rebar inspections for the footers to be poured maybe later this week. So they're making some progress over there. With the recent rains, I saw it maybe as a drainage problem with the entrance, so we'll try to address that with them as well. Construction costs and permitting fees based on October 6th through the 19th. Total construction costs $89,495. The permit fees collected associated with that is $6,414. And then, any questions there? I'll move on. Okay. On planning and zoning, I didn't bring this up last time because I did not want to preempt the planning and zoning discussion, but Joel Olson is looking to get an application for variance to the planning commission, possibly at the November 13th meeting. This will allow the existing Sips Coffee that resides on the church parking lot to move across the alley to Mr. Olson's property.
I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, so that, it would allow that to happen.
So will that be better for those houses there as far as the trouble?
I think it has the potential to provide a better place for traffic flow and to let the church have their parking lot back for their use.
I just know that some of those homes that are along that street have had some issues, so.
Okay. Yeah, so hopefully it'll improve everything all the way around.
I have a question about that. Now, where are they going to relocate?
So Joel Olson owns the property across the alley from the church parking lot right now, on the same side of the street as Stampede.
Okay,
And he's got some acreage right there that he's looking to try to get.
but would that cause rezoning for all of the,
Yes, ma'am. That's the steps that still need to be taken, just like we had to do the rezoning for the existing location in the church.
so right now they go into the alley and the people that live on that street that park, their garages are on the alleyway. They can't get through there when the people park, they come, if there's 5 people there, they come and they can't get back in their alley.
Yes, I've witnessed some of that myself when they're, doing business throughout the day. I've visited there several times just to see how the traffic flows. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that with the relocation across the alley, we'll be able to address.
But will they have to go with curb and gutter and fix it, or will they go from that one street that comes down and come around and then go back out that street?
I think we're still looking to figure out how we're gonna do that. Yeah, it's not set in stone yet, so but that is one of the reasons I believe they're trying to move to that property. There's more
Because they
room.
would be the only business on that street, and that would cause those homeowners to have to pay more taxes. Right? If they're no zoned, aren't they gonna have to pay new taxes?
For all of the property owners, ma'am?
For that block?
For the block, it would just be the variance as it applies to the property that's getting the variance.
Okay, that's all we need to know. Is it going to raise the property tax for those that live there, like Corrine and all.
Yeah, a rezoning of an entire block is a much bigger process. and requires
So it would just be that one
It's
property.
just the one lot.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
And we're in the process of doing that right now, and hopefully
That's all we need to
we'll
know.
get it there to the November 13th meeting, the planning and zoning. And that concludes my report for this meeting.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When they move the coffee shop from where it is, now we rezoned that where it is.
Correct.
Okay, can we put the zoning back to where?
It's already set up to automatically revert
Right.
back.
That's
Yes,
what was in
thank
it when we voted on it.
Yeah, because, for example, we're a church and we can't put a coffee shop on our property without taxes being raised. And if that was a church and they're on their property, why did their taxes go up? You know? It's a nonprofit. They're not nonprofit. SIPS is not nonprofit. And why was that allowed? I mean, they're a nonprofit.
To be fair, ma'am, I don't know the whole rezoning, I didn't go through the whole process, but to my understanding, I thought that there was a lot specifically that was allocated as rezone there, and the church lot was not. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that would have kept, at least as applies to their lot, their status as, you know,
Oh,
tax.
okay.
Because when we voted on it, when they leave, or if they ever left, it goes back to
The church lot.
where the SIPS is.
Yeah, right, where they are now.
Right.
Okay.
The zoning reverts back.
Right.
Forward, yes.
That's all I needed to know.
We understand your concern.
Yes.
Is there any further questions for Engineer Dietrich? Thanks, Steve. Moving on to item number 3, Police Chief Derek Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item are the calls for service between October 6th and today. Newcastle Police Department 163, we had 1 custodial arrest. Weston County Sheriff's Office 146. Upton Police Department 70. Newcastle Volunteer Fire Department 6. Weston County Fire Protection District 5. Upton Volunteer Fire Department 1. Newcastle Ambulance 21. And the breakdown there is 16 of those calls were in the city of Newcastle, 2 of which were ambulance transfers out of the hospital. Weston County had 4 of those calls, Upton had 1. And Osage and Custer County did not receive any ambulance services from Newcastle Ambulance. Upton Ambulance 6. My second item is Carrie Peterson has completed her 1-year probationary employment term. I would request she be granted permanent full-time employment status and given a 50-cent per hour raise.
When would you like the raise to begin, Chief?
I believe the anniversary date was October 17th.
Your Honor, I move that we hire Carrie Peterson as a full-time employee and raise her wages by 50 cents an hour as of October 17th.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? I think it's great she made it through her probationary period, and I saw her working late this evening too.
Yeah.
I was coming in, I was shocked to see her in there, so we're getting our dying work.
We still need a light on the ramp. I was looking in her window so I could get a light.
She's not an electrician, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean that.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, council. And my last item here is just to let you all know that one of the 2025 Dodge Durango patrol vehicles that we ordered has arrived. It is fully outfitted, other than we will need to install the radio in it that we actually remove out of one of the vehicles that's been taken out of service, and have the decals put on it to make it fully marked per statute, and it will be ready to go into service. And that was the one we ordered from John Jones. They did out of Indiana. So. And other than that, I don't have anything big and earth-shattering to report.
Does anybody have any questions for Chief Thompson?
Looks like the engineer could use a 2025 Dodge Durango.
Yeah. The reason we are armed. So.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
In the operations of your department, do you think at all that it would help your officers if we had some of those cameras, like on Main Street and or out there on that bypass where people tend to speed most, and if we took a picture of their license plate and just, you know, send them a bill?
That's actually, there's case law against doing that. They had those photo radar setups, and I don't know if Wyoming ever did it, but other states did it. And there is I believe it's either U.S. District Court or some higher court case law that came out against those. You can't utilize those speed radar enforcement cameras.
This place is full of love. You can tell the people that like to be with old people because they really take care of you good and are very kind.
Twice a day, every day, activities people have an organized activity that's always interesting.
Everybody loves to play bingo. We play it 3 times a week here. We also have ceramics that you can paint. Really pleasant to live here. It's a good place to be.
Case law that came out against those. You can't utilize those speed radar enforcement cameras.
Would it help you at all in your department if we just took pictures of people who were speeding?
I don't think necessarily, no.
Okay.
What you're probably, the majority of the speeding issue that we experience, especially during the warmer times of the year, are tourists. And frankly, you can probably sit out there and write speeding citations all day, and they're tourists, right? So they're gonna come through here one time, they get a speeding citation, they give us some money, and the next tourist comes in right behind them that behaves the same way. It's probably not going to be.
That's revenue.
I understand, but I've made this abundantly clear to you all, and I will not change my position on this. We are not revenue generators. We are not tax collectors. That goes against every foundation of law enforcement ever. I do understand that there is an issue, but I think probably one of the more effective things that would help curb that speeding issue to some degree, especially for those folks who come out of state, are those speed signs that flash your speed, and they'll flash red and blue lights. Some of them, it depends on the design you get. And we did discuss getting some of those signs, and Greg went through quite a bit of work to look into that issue. And what was essentially reported back to him is the crash data, meaning the number of crashes that occur on that roadway, essentially don't support them allowing us to put those speed radar signs in there. And Engineer Dietrich may have more information even than the rest of us do about it. I don't know. I know you work for Whiteout, so you may have a little more background with that issue.
All I can say is usually certain stretches of the highway, it does depend on the frequency and the number of crashes for some specified time to warrant any additional work or signage or even guardrail to be improved.
If I may add on to that, the only place we can actually set these up is at areas where there's a change in speed.
Yeah.
So once you change the speed from 45 to 30, say it's stampede, you can have one there. You cannot put another one up until you change speed again.
Okay.
So there are whiteout rules that are in place, and after reviewing the rules, I don't know as if we had a speed study done to support this, and the speed study did not support a change in, or addition of the radar feedback signs.
What about just, like if it says 30 miles per hour, flashing light, let's say. I mean, I've seen those signs, where there's kind of
I'm
a,
kind of having a difficult time getting Jake brake signs. Can I get through this first, please?
oh, Greg.
Looking at some of the ME2CD stuff, there is some support, but again, the speed study that the state required us to do does not support the need for the radar feedback signs and flashing lights. So that was one of the biggest reasons we requested YCAP or LTAP. It's a assistance program for street stuff, typically like this. They did the street study, or the speed study for us on the bypass, and the information just wasn't there to support it. So we only saw one person doing 75.
And they didn't catch me either.
No.
This is something that's been under review for a while, and I'm sure that we're not gonna come up with any answers tonight, so. Is there any other questions for Police Chief Jared Thompson? No? Okay. Moving on to Department Head Reports, item number 4, Attorney Douglas Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing to report tonight.
No report. Does anybody have any questions for Attorney Hughes? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to Department Head Reports, item number 5, Clerk Treasurer Stacy Haggerty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had sent out an email last week or early this week, I apologize, regarding the Wyoming Community Gas distribution. We have $5,238.09 to designate. In the past, we have designated those funds to mainly the Dow Park Restroom project. One year we did split it, I think, for some Christmas lights. Last year we split it for the Veterans Memorial. They don't need that decision until December, but I wanted to, unless the council wanted to make a decision on that tonight. Otherwise, you guys can have some time to think about it and see where you'd like to designate those funds.
Would the council like time, and maybe come back next meeting with some ideas as.
We got the Boys and Girls Club to think about now, and we got other things to think about.
Bucket Park.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and just put it on the agenda for
next
full
meeting.
business next meeting. And then I had also actually emailed about the LGLP election, and you guys all have a form in your packets. And if you guys would like to take time to read through those, let me know if you have any questions. I'll see what information I can get from my LGLP representatives. Otherwise, you guys could turn those election forms into me and I can submit them as well.
Do we each get a vote, or does the council get a vote?
They weren't specific, so I can check into that. No, I'll send an email out, letting you know if it was just one vote or if each member.
This almost looks like this body.
It's the entity.
Oh, so we're supposed to vote for one person as the entity?
Well, it says entity right there.
I didn't quite understand
I want
what
that.
was going on. I know that it's really hard to vote for someone on a piece of paper and we're just reading.
When we don't know them at all, or they
I know I wouldn't want to make the wrong decision because the LGLP is a really important entity in how we operate and do business. So, it's really hard. They should have to campaign. The council's a little bit better than this, I think.
Yeah, they didn't give us the telephone number or anything to contact them.
There may be more information in that email, because I did email this information as well.
Yeah, I saw this one.
My next item is Rochelle Lacrosse has also completed her probationary year. And I request that she be given permanent status and a 50-cent per hour raise effective October 14th.
Does the council entertain a motion to give Rochelle Lacrosse a 50-cent raise for completing her probationary period? And what was the date? I'm sorry.
October 14th.
Backdated to October 14th.
So moved.
That's it.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then my last item is, does anybody have any questions on the financial report?
It just blows my mind. Already asked mine.
What's that?
Already asked mine.
That's all I have.
Okay. Does anybody have any further questions for clerk treasurer? Yeah, go ahead.
What does those letter LGLP, what does that stand for?
I'm sorry, Kathy. Local Government Liability Pool.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the other alphabet.
I'm glad to hear that, good.
Was there any further questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to our last agenda item for the executive session. Claims against the city dated October 20th, 2025. Does the council entertain a motion to pay our bills?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Then I also, before I ask for a motion to move into our executive session, the public is welcome to stay. We'll adjourn to the adjoining chamber, and you could stay and hear what we determined. So, it's up to you, public, if you want to stay. You're more than welcome. So with that, we entertain a motion to move into executive session. Reference Wyoming statute 16-4-405A personnel. So moved. We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Moving into executive session at 8:53. Council, do we entertain a motion to, move on Public Works Supervisor Greg Stump's recommendation to terminate the position for, Hunter Taylor immediately?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. And with that, do we have, or does the council, go ahead.
On that one, after the termination, I think, with what we did for hiring for these events for personnel for the CDLs, I think it'd also be prudent to probably make a motion that we look at our city attorney to try to recover our CDL expense cost.
Not until he's terminated.
He's already been.
He's already terminated.
Oh, he is terminated.
We just voted on him.
Oh, I see, so we can do it.
Council, if I may, the termination process, since he's a permanent employee, involves the actual following under the ordinance of the giving of the letter, the amount of time to respond and request hearings. So as of this date, he's no longer working with the city, but he still is entitled to that time frame. Therefore, if we were to move forward on some sort of a CDL assessment, we wouldn't have standing because he still technically is an employee at the city of Newcastle until that process is done.
Okay. Does the council entertain a motion to adjourn?
Also moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:15.
The chief was trying to get in there.